Hello again. Today it's still cold out, but it's beautiful. I don't know if you can see the light in the back. It's still snow on the ground, but it's getting a little better. I think we're due for another storm though coming up later this week. In any case, today we're back to Chateauneuf, and this is a producer that is sort of, and it's an interesting story. We talked about this when we tasted their Corna 2003 a little while ago. This is a Chateauneuf, a 2001 Chateauneuf by Tardieu, Laurent. So it's two gentlemen, Tardieu and Laurent, Dominique Laurent, and I think Denis Tardieu, something like this. And they kind of have, they're very active in the Rhone. They came from a Burgundy background, and they have a négociant type of business model. So they find, I think they deal with about 80 different vignerons. So they find good grapes and they make good wine to the extent they can. They have different processes. Sometimes they take the oak barrels and leave them where the vigneron is to raise the wine. That's, they call it, for élevage for 1 year. Sometimes they bring the grapes and they make the wine and they do, so it's a kind of a flexible business model predicated on having good relationships with some of the best grape growers, kind of a little bit like the American model in many cases in Napa and in Central California. And they make these different wines. So they Chateauneuf, they Saint Joseph, they have an Hermitage, they have different Saint Joseph. They have quite a few labels, and some of them they don't make anymore. So it's a bit. And now they sold their basically business to Maison Deutz, the champagne owner, a couple of years ago. It's also a second generation, so I don't know where they're going to be in another few years. In any case, this is 2001. It's 100% Grenache. We're talking here from the 1920s, 1930 vines. It's raised, it's unfined, unfiltered, raised primarily in new oak, maybe, or 1 or 2 year old barrels. They spend a lot of money on oak. And they spend a lot of money on glass. I could tell you by the weight of this thing. Anyway, the color, I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty brown. It's getting there in terms of the bricking and the brown, with a very pale edge around the sort of around the side of the glass, and it's a bit muddy. Because it's unfiltered. There's a lot of stuff on the bottle. I don't know if you can see it. This is sort of this is what you're gonna get. On the nose, when I first opened it, it was just olives, like just a big whiff of olive, black olive, and these juicy sort of tight, small, shriveled, but intense black olives. Very specifically. So like whether they're from Nice or from Nyons or from Lebanon or what have you. And now there's more fruit, there's more of the garrigue spices. There is still a decent amount of fruit on the nose, even for a 20-year-old bottle. And a little bit of that earthiness that you start, developing, and both with bottle age and also the secondary, flavors in the wine and aromas. It's just very, very, still very potent. It's high alcohol. I don't know if that's what you're going to feel in the mouth, 14 to 15%. I think some of the write-ups were, when it first came out, were up to 16%, but it's not supposed to show it. Let's see how it tastes. No olive on the taste, but more prune, dark cherries. Again, it's considerable amount of fruit for something of this age. These Chateauneufs they always amaze me, and a little bit of that earthiness, just a tiny bit of licorice, anise, not a lot, but it's something that really on the finish. The finish itself develops its own sort of secondary layers. It's really very, very good. This is from the Lacroix area, where basically one of the most famous makers there is Chateauneuf du Pape. But it's kind of funny because one of the sandy bits of La Crosse. It's not the famous big pebbles, but it's really more of the sandy thing. And it is supposed to be, and you compare it to the Clos du Caillou we've had together from that age, it is a little bit more massive, it's more rustic, it's more traditional. It's a really just powerful Chateauneuf du Pape, but with the edge, where the edge has come off, which to me, I like that a lot. Some of the bigger Chateauneuf du Papes, you really have to wrestle with, like in more recent Vieux Télégraphe or something like this. But this, it's still got the traditional, you know, power that you expect from a Chateauneuf du Pape, but the edge has come off, and it's now, you know, a little bit of a mix of just the sort of the garrigues and the olives, the fruit, a little bit of the licorice at the end, some of the earth tones as we discussed, and it comes together as a sort of more of a velvety punch, let's say, and it's really just fun to enjoy on a winter afternoon. Cheers, and see you soon.